All right, so I'll call the meeting to order, and we'll go ahead and do the roll call. Allie Taylor, Zach Tammy Johnny,
Present.
Wendell Huggins, Dustin Seaton, Candace Baldwin, Aubrey Shepard,
Present.
and I'm Alex Baldwin. We hear a motion to approve the minutes from our March meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Have we had a chance to look over the meeting agenda for today? Anything to discuss there? Good? Very good?
Well, there's one thing I might want to add to the agenda is discussion of the fact that the education channel has not even been running a signal for the last week or two. So we might be interested in hearing more about that if we can.
Okay. Anything else? What about Zach and I were talking a second ago about the Ozark Electric, going to be providing some internet services. Should we have a discussion around that, or should we table it till next month? Or?
That'd be best probably for next month, since we just kind of caught wind of that announcement. Really haven't analyzed it much. Of course, I've been out of town too. So we can take care of it next month.
Will we be receiving any information on that? Has there been any contact whatsoever?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very fresh
Very
in
good.
terms of that announcement.
Okay. Doug, do you want to jump in with the reports?
Sure. I am going to start out by showing you something that came in after I put together your packet, and it actually directly addresses the education channel for it. So you can read it, a letter that came in from the school district. They are giving us 30 days notice, so they're going to give the channel back to us. And that's kind of what we've been wondering. So finally, they've made a decision there. I received this on Monday, this Monday. So it's really early, and we haven't had any time to discuss what direction we're going to go in. But they have made a decision. So May 14th, it'll officially roll back to city control. I'll give you some time to read it. So at the next meeting in May, this will be something that, I'll be able to talk more to you about in terms of what we're kind of leaning towards doing. But finally, we have a direction or an answer. And can actually take some steps now, which is good. So, well, that was.
So in May, then we'll talk more about just some strategy around who's going to pick it up, what some options are there.
What we can do. It's good timing because if we have to run the channel for a little bit, one of our older systems, broadcast systems, the SD system, we can repurpose it. Since the television center will be done by then, should be done by then, so that system will be free. So we'll be able to take on the channel, at least run something, some content as a stopgap. But future, in terms of future plans, we'll have probably more to discuss next month.
Okay.
For it. All right.
Good.
And, okay, so after the education tidbit of information, I wanted to just kind of show you some pictures. The room you're in, 219. This is what it looked like when they stripped it out. And this just kind of want to show you some of the progress that went on. So they stripped out the floor, seating, cleaned up the dais up there, and they stripped the walls. And that's a view from our video booth up there, as you can kind of see some more of what's going on. This was before the floor, but after they had textured the walls with this kind of wall covering.
Do the guys in the booth have better chairs or anything?
No, they do not. It was not really in the budget. Now, the floor, the original floor, was very wavy and creaky and everything. So they had to come in and kind of redo the subfloor in order to eliminate a lot of the squeaking. And it also allowed the carpet to better adhere. Because of all the rolls, we had a lot of carpet popping up, and it just was not level. So our facilities management came in and laid all new plywood. And of course, you notice, I don't know if you paid attention to it, but there's no squeaking now when you're walking in here, which is pretty good. This is after the floor covering, and with the desk that was installed. This was made, it was carved, handmade out of walnut, and I think the walnut is from like the 1960s. It's old wood, and it was carved by artist Matt Buell. Did a very nice job. Did the podium as well. And the only additional lighting we put in is, you can see right up here. That's our broadcast lighting. It's particularly for the council, and for the podium we put in 2 LED pendant lights. Facilities management, the very white lights up here, they just replaced those with daylight, just LEDs for more efficiency. In fact, all the bulbs are LED now in here, except for those 3 broadcast lights. Those are fluorescent, but they provided more of a punch than the similar LED units. And because of the distance, we wanted to make sure we had enough illumination. Because the carpet is gray, and the walls are a neutral gray, it really absorbs the light. So it kind of turned the dais up there into a bit of a cave, particularly if you're backlit by the windows there. So we had to install the additional lighting. That was before of our video booth. You can kind of see our rack. That was the old equipment, most of the old equipment. That's with new cabling from this room run. And here's what it looks like now. There's a lot more equipment and a lot more cabling, but we have a lot more functionality. But the same chair. No, we didn't replace the chair. Sorry, Steve. At the same time, we started renovation work down at the television center. So this is what it looked like for far too long. Redid the walls, and we had carpet installed and the walls painted. There's still some more that's going to be done, some more painting and trim work, and later in the year the ceiling's going to be redone, retiled in a different tile style. So it'll be all new and kind of modern looking. Right now it looks like this. It makes a huge difference because now it's a much quieter facility. There's carpet throughout, except in the studio, of course. And you can see some of the door frames. That type of stuff will be trimmed, differently painted, that sort of thing. There's still some work to go, but it's much nicer. Yeah, much nicer. All right. Feel free to stop by. Check it out. I know you've been there, Aubrey.
One question. Is there still a little computer in that area for members of the public to use?
Yes. Public workstation is still there. It's still tucked around the corner.
Yeah.
Right there. Mm-hmm. All right. So let me launch into what the city's YouTube channel has done over the course of March. Viewership was down a little bit. We didn't put as many videos on our YouTube channel, mostly because we had ramped down production leading up to these projects. So you're going to see the same thing next month as well. We're just not producing much. The top 10 videos, that Barrett Baber Gully Park concert still got a good amount of views. People are watching it. Today in America popped back in, that old video, and everybody loves drone footage. The engineers are sending us monthly updates of drone footage of the Rupel Road extension, so you can kind of see the progression. It's pretty.
That'd be neat.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So you can go, right now we've got 3 months worth. So you can see the progression from January, you can see it February, you can see it March. And I think we may have just uploaded April as well. All right. And let's see, geographies, well, everybody wants us in the U.S. That really never changes. So, in Granicus, our viewership was up, which is a good thing. This is a good month and a half after our encoder change, which kind of caused our numbers to dip, as you saw in the report last month. In fact, our streams it's like 1,200 more streams. So, yeah, it was watched by 1,200 more viewers. And the Ward 4 neighborhood meeting of March 28th, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that drew a lot of interest. Here's where they're coming from, a lot of directs, so people are tapping it directly. They've got it bookmarked, and it taps directly, and since it goes directly, it doesn't indicate a destination that you come from, so that's why it's called direct. And then the rest of it pretty much is our city website. I also wanted to point out that we had viewership in Mallorca, in Palma. I'm not sure why, but somebody was there, and they decided to watch us off the coast of Spain. In terms of what Media Services has done production-wise, we finally were to complete and put out a couple videos. The police recruitment, I don't know, did anybody have a chance to view that one? No? Didn't view it?
Which one?
The police recruitment video?
Yeah, I saw part
You saw
of that.
You saw part of that? Here, I'll go ahead and play it for you so you can watch it.
Yeah.
This one, we were notified last week that it received a Silver Tele Award.
Oh, cool.
We've never received a silver before. And I'm not sure what the parameters are, but we got a bronze for editing for this, and then a silver for non-broadcast production, since it's not a TV commercial or anything, it's a recruiting video. So I'll go ahead and play it, and that way you can get a taste of what it is. funny audio. So that was released in February at the policeman's annual banquet, and then it started. We play it on our channel, but they're able to take that file format and DVD and share it with potential new recruits, go to job fairs with it, that sort of thing. And it was designed just to be kind of an eye catcher type of thing.
Those are our cameras and our crew out there filming all that, or creating all that? It took how long to make?
That was 2 years.
Nice.
2 years. Not by design. It was just availability. There was the police department has so many divisions within it, trying to cover it all, and then schedule things, and other projects get in the way. It just ended up dragging it out for about 2 years, kind of stopping and starting. But we finally completed it in February.
Yeah.
So, and they're really happy with it, which is important. The next thing that just started, actually hasn't started in the theaters, the next Recycle Something spot starts in the Fiesta 16 this Friday, tomorrow. Next Friday, it also starts at the Razorback. And it's starting on Cox this week. So this is, I'll go ahead and play it just so you can kind of see what we're doing. Here's my mouse. There are 2 variations of this spot. I'm going to show you the broadcast spot, the one that's on Cox, because it kind of speaks to people watching on televisions or something. The one at the movie theaters speaks to those watching a movie. It's just a slight variation, but just kind of wanted to point that out. So when you see it in both places, you'll notice that it is slightly different. Where did my mouse go? Okay. There you have it.
Who is that guy? Is he an actor?
Yeah, that's Tim Caffrey. He was in, if you watch our old Recycle Team 6, he's also in that.
Okay.
As the chief. We brought him back for it. There is an extended online version that will be coming out that deals with all the different things that you can recycle on an individual basis. In here, we just had them all popped into frame at once. But it's geared more as an educational. There's more information about the program in this spot than the previous 2 or 3 that we've done. And it's a little more call to action to recycle and to let people know what you can and can't. There's some of that too in the extended one. The extended one will come out later. But that is the extent of the Government Channel and Media Services report. If you have any questions, or else I'll turn it over to Dan.
Great job, as always.
All right. I'll turn it over to Dan. Yeah, I think we're good on volume. He can hear it up there, so we may not worry about it.
Weird that the music is separate from the thing, but we'll work with it. Good evening. Glad to be here with you, sharing with you about the first quarter at Fayetteville Public Access Television. First quarter of 2016 continued our increased activity trend. We are very excited to see the numbers stay up as they have been up. We've seen increased equipment usage, steady and increasing production activity, groundwork laid for exciting new programming that's going to be coming out soon. And then we are exploring new outreach efforts, always looking for new ways to let people know about the great resources at Public Access. In March of 2016, we offered 50 class opportunities. So this is a combination of our contractually obligated and constantly scheduled 24 a week, or 24 a month. No, 24, it's 6 a week, 24 a month. But then we actively pursue other opportunities to get people connected. If they cannot make our regularly scheduled classes, we schedule independent study classes with them and groups as well, and that is a direct result of having a full-time education director. So we're very excited to be able to offer that with the expansion of the contract. As you can see, for the last 3 years, we have continued to increase the number of classes offered. This is year-to-date first quarter from 14, 15, and this year, and we continue to increase that number. As far as participation goes, March was unique in that we had 13 participants result in 40 participations, which is a somewhat elusive 3-to-1 ratio that we have seen before. But on pretty rare occasion, it's very exciting to see people take the classes and then come back for more classes. Usually it's a 2-to-1 ratio. They'll do orientation and basic field, or orientation and editing within a month. This month we had a 3-to-1 ratio where for every participant there were 3 participations. So we feel like that's encouraging, and also with the end goal being of getting these people empowered to produce stuff, that definitely gets them closer to producing content more quickly. So that was very exciting. As you can see, I would like to point out that year to date we've had a 440% increase in advanced field class and a 260% increase in advanced editing. So we have had a significantly increased demand for our advanced educational opportunities. And this specifically gets them able to utilize our advanced field cameras and Adobe Premiere Pro for editing, which gives them more capability. So as you can see on the chart here, when it comes to advanced field production, this time last year we had 5 participations. We have 27 participations. This time last year in advanced editing we had 5 participations. We now have 18 participations in this first quarter. So that is an increased demand, and then we see that directly impact our equipment utilization as well, which I'll point out here in a bit. I guess I'll also mention that as it stands, first quarter of 2016 had the highest number of participations on record. We did squeak by with 128, surpassing last year at 126. So that is definitely a new high for the operation. So you can see it's very helpful to us to see annual trends, to see how things curve over the course of the year. 2012 and 2013 had almost identical curves to them, whereas in 2014 we broke the curve for the first time with kind of the valley happening between March and August, April and May being some of our most challenging months. As the semester's wrapping up and as spring is springing, we see that there tends to be a little less educational participation. We hope for more production activity, but that tends to be kind of a low spot for us. We had higher participation in February than we've ever seen in the month of February before. So as you can see, we kicked off the first quarter already ahead of the curve. And we will continue to kind of analyze seasonal and trends to see how that works. But we're off to a great start in 2016. As far as staff training went, our technical director, Flint Woods, watched a course on time-lapse video. It's a very popular technique at this time. So he looked at the different methods and techniques involved with that so that he can consult with our users about those things. And then our director of education, Dave Embry, reviewed 6 training videos on audio software Reaper, which is what we're recommending to our users if they want to do audio editing. It's a free software platform that allows them to go home and work with mixing audio on their own, and then they can decide to pay for it. If you're making money with it, there are a couple different ways you can pay for it, but you can use it as shareware until you decide you want to pay for it. So with it being accessible and very functional, Dave, as our Director of Education, has recommended that we teach Reaper as our audio software platform. So he looked into some classes like that, and then utilized Reaper to produce audio for Cosmic American Studio Lab. We had the local band Cosmic American come in, and we produced a studio lab of their music. It was one of our top YouTube performers that month, so it got some great traction, but he did use Reaper to produce the audio for that. In March, we added 8 new candidate producers. In the first quarter of 2016, we've added 23 new candidate producers, 2 new certified producers, and 1 new outside producer. So a candidate producer being someone who has taken classes and can utilize the equipment to produce a show. They can be part of a crew pool. A certified producer being the person who is in charge of the program, completing the program, and submitting it for telecast. And then an outside producer being someone who has produced something not utilizing Fayetteville Public Access Television resources. But we definitely encourage people who are producing stuff to consider submitting it for telecast on FPTV. So our production activity in March included 4 new episodes of Short Takes. We produced the first 3 episodes of a show that we're very excited about called Rooted in the Ozarks, which is a show in partnership with Ozark Natural Foods, which is a nonprofit. And so they are providing us a culinary educator, Heather Artribe, and she is cooking up amazing recipes. I'll show you some pictures that are locally sourced, organic recipes. So it's really fun to be partnering with a local co-op and producing a cooking show at Fayetteville Public Access Television.
Have we done that before, Dan, or is that something new?
It's something new. We've not had our own cooking show, so I'd say it's the first FPTV internal produced cooking show that we've had.
Wasn't that one of the goals we talked about, maybe in January or something, was trying to partner with more
local organizations?
Yeah, local organizations.
Mm-hmm. So for them to be able to provide the talent and the resources, and for us to provide the studio. Heather had been doing little 5-minute bits on, I believe 4029 on a news network. She was part of the news, and they would come over to her and she'd kind of talk about something really quick, and then they decided to end that series. So she came with a fan base already, and then she was looking for an opportunity to continue the work, and so she approached us, and I was very happy to be able to facilitate that as an internal production.
Yeah. So you got a stove and fridge in the studio when you do.
Wouldn't that be nice? As a culinary educator, she rolls in with everything she needs on a cart. Hot plate if she needs to cook something, and then this last episode that we just shot, there was no cooking involved. She made a couple of salads. But we do facilitate, and we do an overhead angle on that, so that you can see what she's doing with her hands when it's happening. So we really have a lot of fun with the space. And we'll be very excited to show you what that's looking like next month. We're going to be premiering it this month, so I'll be reporting on it next month. But we have Technical Director Flint Woods digitally designed the kitchen that goes behind her. So we build the kitchen that is the set, and then incorporate those sort of tricks. So it's a whole lot of fun. We're very excited to have that one going on. In March, we also produced the first episode of Season 3 of Later with Jason Sewell. And that's just a really big landmark for us. We're very excited to see Later with Jason Sewell rolling into its 3rd year of production. Jason has great sponsors that have gotten behind the show, including Cheerios and the Walmart Museum. So we're seeing more activity, and then we're rolling that out on YouTube. So the first episode was premiered in March. And then, during March, we did post-production work on our Get Your Message Out series, which was 17 nonprofits came in and shared with us. We hosted interviews with 17 nonprofits that then we make available on our YouTube channel for them to be able to share with the community. So doing an overview of what they're doing in the year to come, any initiatives they have going on. So specifically focused on serving nonprofits and highlighting Northwest Arkansas-based nonprofits, not just Fayetteville, but we open up to the whole region. Very often, nonprofits that are not based in Fayetteville will have Fayetteville residents as employees. So we very often are able to work within our parameters, even though the nonprofit may not be located in Fayetteville. So for that Get Your Message Out series, we produced a new custom opening animation that my technical director, Flint Woods, designed. and all that sort of stuff, so it was, really amazing stuff. And then Heather there, and you can see we've got, for the first episode, we actually flew a mirror and shot into the mirror. And then for the subsequent episodes, we actually mounted a camera to the grid up above to get the overhead shot. So that we're hoping to premiere the first episode this week, actually, and then we'll be rolling those out every 2 weeks. We also, just kind of a spoiler alert, we also initiated a yoga show. So for our internal productions, we handle short takes, we're handling Rooted with the Ozarks, and we're handling a yoga show. That then later with Jason Sewell, we're hoping to set up a schedule where we're premiering something new every Friday. So it would be a cooking show, a yoga show, later with Jason Sewell, and then whatever studio lab or thing that we produce over the course of that month. But it is my target to make Fridays premiere days for new content. And we're very excited to have new internal content to premiere. So that's Rooted, and here is the icon for Season 3 of Later with Jason Sewell. When it comes to equipment utilization, in the first quarter, it was very strong, with consistent editing bay and studio use, a continuation of our increased field checkout numbers. I think it is very notable that, as you see in 2015, as of this time, first quarter, we had 91 checkouts. 2016, we have had 134 field camera checkouts. So that is a 47% increase in 1 year. So that is encouraging. We're very glad to see people producing things. As you can see, the editing laptop checkouts are consistent, 5 a month. We have people checking out the editing laptops and taking those home. And then also the studio use hours. As you saw in Doug's presentation, we have been working through construction. The control room of the studio is currently not functional. We are producing essentially in a one-room schoolhouse, recording locally to cameras, recording audio on separate devices in the room with us. We have done everything we can to accommodate continuing to work through the construction. And so these numbers that you're looking at have been through a period of construction where we had our lobby taken apart, all these things taken apart, but we have sallied forth and continued to produce things and interact with the public. No closings for the renovations. So here you see a chart of our equipment use, which by and large stays pretty static. But as you can see, back in May of 2015, we had a spike that lasted for quite some time. Here we are in February, March of 2016 with a whole new level of checkouts for field cameras. So there's definitely interest in that. And then when you break that out into basic field cameras and advanced, you can see that in March we had a downtrend in our advanced, but that's still twice what we were seeing back in December. So we are seeing significant, and then our basic field is on an upward trend. We are still on an upward trend with basic field rigs. We currently have 4 basic field rigs. We have 2 advanced field rigs. And those advanced field rigs are now booked 2 weeks in advance. We're advising people that they have to make their reservations early. And as it stands, most weekends we have no equipment in the building. It's gone. Empty closet. And then it all comes back Monday, and we send it all back out. So it is really fun to see people connecting with the equipment and utilizing the equipment. Every time someone checks something in, we ask, did everything work okay? Everything working for you? And we get great responses. People seem very comfortable with the equipment. They seem to feel like it's working for them. We don't have people with suggestions like, hey, why don't you do this? Or, I mean, it seems like at this point we have it pretty well handled, and they're very happy with the equipment that we are providing. There just will come the point, as you can see, that we will eventually need more to meet the need. So we did not have any formal complaints in March. This marks over 4 years without a formal complaint. On our test surveys, we had all 5s again. With the one that we are most focused on being after this class, I feel prepared to apply these skills. People tend to give us great grades, but tend to be a little timid about what they are actually capable of. When they give themselves a 5, as far as being able to accomplish the goals, we feel like we have done our job.
What's the process for getting new equipment whenever that time comes? We have to put it in as a line item in the budget for the year and all that, or how does that work?
Doug and I meet weekly, and I keep him appraised of where we're at, and then Doug works into the schedule of things, when we would be able to make that happen. But very supportive.
Good.
I'll go ahead and say something. We also have, in our yearly budget, we have an equipment fund specifically for that we can tap into for things like camera replacement or a new piece of equipment. For big ticket items, yeah, we would have to ask for it in the following year's budget, but we do have an equipment budget that takes care of a lot of public access requests.
Mm-hmm. We have basic field cameras that were purchased in 2012. So, as it stands, 4 years of public use. And out of a piece of technology, I feel like that's a nice lifespan. Mm-hmm. And so Doug and I have that very clearly in our perspective and are looking at kind of a schedule to start graduating some of those out rather than waiting for them to fail, drawing some nice clear lines, knowing how old each piece of equipment is, and then having a replacement cycle prepared for it. So the new programming we premiered in March included the 4 new episodes of Short Takes, a new episode of One World View, a new episode of On the Air with Richard S. Drake. We were happy to premiere episode 4 of Finding Friends in partnership with the Humane Society of the Ozarks, which has had an amazing success rate for getting those pets forever homes. We're very happy with that partnership to be able to produce that. We had a new episode of the Bulldozer Health Show, which we really enjoy having that being produced out of the television center. They do call-in work, so they use our phone hybrid to have call-in guests. It's a lot of fun to see them implementing that tool. And then we had coverage of the 2016 Washington County Women's Historical Banquet by certified producer Lindsley Smith, who went out and covered that for us and edited it and submits that for us pretty much annually. She covers that event for us. So as you can see, when it comes to types of programs, March, when it comes to new inside programs, March was a little lighter than usual because we were working on the Get Your Message Out videos, which are 17 additional videos. So, spoiler alert, in April, we will have exceeded the number of new inside programs that we have had previously. And that's really where we're focused and really where we're excited. You can see in 2014, we had at this point in the first quarter, we had produced 61 new inside programs. Once we had done a Get Your Message Out in 2014 as well, and had it completed by now. So once we have that series completed and worked into the metrics, we will be setting a new curve for new inside programming. The other interesting thing I wanted to point out on this chart was the total number of program requesters. As you can see, historically, that's been in the 70 to 80 range, and that is currently at 115. So we have more people requesting programming on the channel than we have had previously. So we're very excited about that as well. So on our live stream channel, which shows what is happening on the channel live, online, we've had I would say the viewership has been down a little bit as we have been ramping up new productions. Once we've got the new productions being premiered on a regular basis, that's definitely going to increase. But this was the metrics on the live stream. And then if we look at the first quarter, we can see that we had 410 users result in 551 sessions for 693 page views over the first quarter. Then with YouTube, which our YouTube channel we launched in January, you can see that for the first quarter, it has been an incredible boom for us as far as VOD views. It is completely different than what we've seen previously. Previously, we were using live stream as our VOD destination as well, which meant that those metrics were a little higher. Our live stream metrics are lower now because we're not routing people there for VOD, we're routing people to the YouTube. So now what we're seeing in our live stream metrics are what people are watching, what's happening on the channel, and then what we're seeing on YouTube is our VOD metrics. And as you can see, we've had 2,200 views in the first quarter. And that's pretty good for a brand new YouTube channel, essentially. Our view duration is 8 minutes and 29 seconds. It's a relatively long view duration. And then the watch time in minutes also looks very impressive. The sources that they are getting YouTube from are primarily computer, with TV being second and mobile phone being third. As we see more and more smart TVs with YouTube functionality, people are able to tap into YouTube from their television as a source. So that's where we're seeing that happen.
I'm surprised the mobile phone's so low. I figured it would have been up there with the computer.
Yeah. So then, as you can see, with the addition of our YouTube, our online views have greatly increased, slightly decreasing over the course of the first quarter. When we premiere all the new stuff that we're very excited about premiering, I anticipate seeing a significant raise in April, May, June. Second quarter, we'll have much more online viewing activity. But this was definitely much more than we have seen previously in the first quarter. So for our promotional activity, we continue our constant social media outreach, flyer distribution, and organizational outreach, reaching out to any organizations that would be able to utilize the resources as well. In March, we tried a new trick. We boosted a Facebook post. So thanks to the expanded contract, we have some budget to work with for advertising. And so we did an experiment, and we spent $20 to boost a Facebook post to just see what kind of traction we got out of that. So as you can see, the lighter orange is our organic reach, and then the darker orange is what that $20 got us, which was a significantly raised reach. We noticed much more interaction with the post, many more likes, many more shares, many more comments, and so we're really exploring and implementing the idea of having a boosted post at least once a month that highlights a general message, because it goes for 2 weeks. You know, it will pop up in people's feeds more than once, and then they'll end up interacting with it. So we were very excited to see that. And then if you look at it as far as a first quarter perspective, organically we were able to make some fun things happen in January and at the beginning of February. But as you can see, the boosted posts are going to significantly impact our reach. So we're very excited to be able to do it at all. We were very happy to be able to do an experiment to make sure that it worked. And now that we see that it is being effective, that is going to be a really nice resource for us to be able to raise awareness about what's happening. So, in conclusion, March concluded a solid first quarter. We're already seeing increased activity and community interaction thanks to the expanded contract. We have new locally focused programming being added to the channel, and really exciting new internal programs in production. The outreach efforts have quantifiably increased the number of participants, and we are always looking for new ways to better serve the city and the community with Fayetteville Public Access Television.
Great job, Dan. As always.
If I may, one thing that we haven't been emphasizing, you guys for months and 2 or 3 years now, been saying we don't have any complaints, but we're not getting any members of the public to show up and speak or ask questions. And that's an important thing to let people know they are free and invited to speak on any issue that we discuss or bring up a question. And a complaint if they have one. I hope nobody's got any. It's all going so well right now. So, but I certainly like to hear from the public on everything.
Absolutely. And, you know, we're very, very open to people sharing with us anything that they, you know, any opinions they have. The exciting aspect of the no complaints thing for me is the fact that we have obviously increased the amount of programming. We have more and more programming on the channel, but, I mean, it is not the kind of programming that yields the kind of complaints that were historically troublesome. So it's not that we're not open to programs that could cause some controversy, but as it stands, our program schedule does not contain a lot of things that would surprise or offend. I believe that has to do with the culture and the ethos of the operation. We're producing programming that is positive and community-focused, but we're happy to facilitate anyone's First Amendment rights and make sure that they have the opportunity to express whatever they would want to express. But yes, considering the history of the organization, the 4 years of lack of complaints, we feel like is definitely something that we're proud of. Anything else?
You have any questions for Dan? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Moving down the agenda, do we have any announcements tonight that we haven't been discussed? Anything? Good? 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 All right.
Oh, I will say that next month, we almost assuredly will be back in 326.
Okay.
I do have a question, though. Are we, as far as the subcommittee goes, I haven't heard any movement on that. Do we have any information pertaining to vetting a third ISP, as was discussed in the last meeting?
Oh, yeah. That's going to be a bit of a lengthy process, because right now it is in its infancy in terms of what they want to do. There hasn't been a whole lot of discussion about that, but it's coming. And they know that they're going to reach out to you and Candace, the other one, when the time comes. So it's not a pressing issue. It is something that's a little more long term. So.
Is that something that's coming down from the council or where?
No, from the city administration itself. It's something that they're wanting to explore. They're acting on the feedback from the public, the citizens of Fayetteville from the surveys that they've put out, and that's that broadband access and broadband choice was a big item from that survey. So there are a number of other things on that survey that they're going to act on as well, but it's long-term growth. They're developing long-term goals from that.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
Move we adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right. Have a good night.